Have you ever found yourself wondering, does he really miss me when I'm not around? Or is he just too comfortable knowing I'll always be there? If you've asked yourself these questions, you're not alone. Most women have been there, trapped in the paradox of giving their all to a relationship, only to feel underappreciated, overlooked, or, even worse, taken for granted. Here's the kicker. Many women believe that the secret to making a man crave their presence lies in constant availability, showering him with attention, responding to every text immediately, and always saying yes to his plans. But what if I told you that this strategy is backfiring? What if the very things you're doing to make him miss you are actually pushing him further away? The truth is, men miss you the most when you master the art of balance, a delicate dance between presence and absence, engagement and mystery, giving and withholding. The secret lies in understanding a man's psychology and tapping into what I like to call dark Stoic psychology. This approach combines timeless Stoicism principles with modern relationship dynamics to create an irresistible pull, one that makes him think about you, dream about you, and yes, miss you. In this guide, I'm going to reveal 5 transformative methods to make him miss you. Each one is rooted in psychology, authenticity, and personal growth, ensuring you don't just manipulate his emotions but genuinely enhance your relationship. By the end of this, you'll have the tools to create emotional resonance so powerful that he can't stop thinking about you. Ready to flip the script and become the woman he can't stop chasing? Let's dive in. 1. Self-sufficiency, the core of attraction. There's something inherently magnetic about a woman who doesn't need anyone but chooses to let someone into her life. Men are naturally drawn to women who are self-sufficient, not just financially but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Why? Because self-sufficiency signals strength, confidence, and independence, the very traits that make a woman unforgettable. Imagine this. You're deeply immersed in a passion project, working late nights to bring your vision to life. Or maybe you've taken up a new hobby, painting, writing, fitness, or exploring the philosophy of Stoicism. You're not chasing him or filling your days waiting for his call. You're building a life so fulfilling and rich that your energy shifts completely. This is the essence of self-sufficiency. And it's intoxicating. But how do you channel this energy in a way that makes him miss you? Let's break it down. First, recognize that self-sufficiency doesn't mean shutting him out or pretending you don't care. It's about creating a life that's so full and vibrant that your time and attention become a privilege, not a given. When he sees you thriving, he'll want to be part of that world. Men are captivated by women who have their own goals and are unapologetic about pursuing them. Now, let's dig deeper into the psychology behind this. Men are biologically wired to be attracted to women who challenge them, who ignite their curiosity and keep them on their toes. When you're self-sufficient, you send a powerful message. I'm not here to complete you or fix you. I'm here to share my world with you. This subtle shift creates a dynamic of mutual respect and admiration, where he starts to value your presence more, because he knows you don't rely on him for your happiness. But here's the catch. Self-sufficiency must come from an authentic place. If you're pretending to be busy or feigning independence, he'll sense the inauthenticity, and the effect will backfire. True self-sufficiency requires inner work, cultivating your passions, building your confidence, and embracing the principles of Stoicism to remain grounded in your own worth. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our mindset, and our growth. By practicing Stoicism, you become the calm, composed woman who doesn't crumble under pressure or seek external validation. This emotional stability is incredibly attractive because it shows him you're a woman of substance, not just surface-level charm. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you did something just for you? Not to impress anyone, not to win approval, but because it lit your soul on fire. If you can't remember, It's time to shift your focus inward. Sign up for that dance class you've been eyeing. Start journaling your dreams and taking steps to bring them to life. Immerse yourself in activities that make you lose track of time. When he sees you glowing with purpose, something fascinating happens. He starts to feel like he's competing, not with another man, but with your dreams and ambitions. This creates a natural tension where he realizes your time is valuable and he wants to earn his place in your world. That's when the magic happens. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or manipulating him into missing you. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, a woman so confident and self-assured that her presence becomes a gift. When you embody this energy, he'll naturally start to miss you. He'll think about the way your eyes light up when you talk about your passions, the strength in your voice when you set boundaries, and the quiet confidence you exude when you walk into a room. So, how can you start cultivating self-sufficiency today? Begin by asking yourself, what brings me joy? What makes me feel alive? What kind of life do I want to create for myself? The answers to these questions are your roadmap to becoming the woman he can't stop thinking about. In the next section, we'll explore the powerful psychological trigger of uncertainty, another key to making him miss you. But for now, take a moment to reflect on how you can embrace self-sufficiency in your own life. What's one small step you can take today to start building the life you've always dreamed of? 2. The psychological trigger of uncertainty. Let's talk about something irresistible: mystery. What makes a book impossible to put down, a movie unforgettable, or a person captivating? It's the unanswered questions, the layers of intrigue that pull you in and leave you wanting more. The same principle applies to attraction. If you've ever wondered why certain women seem to have men wrapped around their finger, it's not because they're flawless or play manipulative games. It's because they understand the power of uncertainty. Uncertainty is a psychological trigger that keeps the mind engaged, the heart racing, and the emotions heightened. But here's the real magic. It's not about being unreliable or cold. It's about creating just enough intrigue to make him think about you when you're not there. This trigger is so powerful that it underpins everything from addictive TV series to gambling addiction. It's the essence of dark Stoic psychology, where emotional tension is created not through manipulation, but through authenticity and self-possession. So, how do you use uncertainty to your advantage without playing games or being insincere? Let's break it down. First, let's understand why uncertainty works. Humans crave resolution. When we don't know what's going to happen next, our brains work overtime trying to fill in the gaps. This is why cliffhangers are so effective. They keep us hooked, replaying scenarios and imagining possibilities. The same thing happens in relationships. When he doesn't know exactly what you're thinking or when he'll hear from you next, he starts to invest more mental energy into you. And the more he thinks about you, the more he misses you. But here's the golden rule. Uncertainty isn't about withholding affection or being deliberately confusing. It's about creating space for him to wonder about you, to reflect on his feelings, and to anticipate your next move. This requires a delicate balance, being warm and engaging when you're together, but maintaining a sense of independence and unpredictability when you're apart. Imagine this. You've had a wonderful evening together. The conversation flowed, the laughter was effortless, and there was undeniable chemistry. Instead of texting him the next morning with, "Had a great time, can't wait to see you again," try something different. Leave the interaction open-ended. Let him sit with the memory of the evening, wondering if you're thinking about him as much as he's thinking about you. This doesn't mean you ignore him or play hard to get. It means you're giving him the gift of curiosity. Let him make the next move. When he does, respond with warmth and authenticity, but don't lay all your cards on the table. This creates an emotional rhythm, a push and pull, that keeps him invested and engaged. Here's another way to introduce uncertainty. Be spontaneous with your time and attention. Instead of falling into predictable patterns, like texting him every morning or always being available for last-minute plans, shake things up. Maybe you're busy one evening because you're taking a yoga class or catching up with friends. Maybe you don't reply to his text right away because you're immersed in a book on Stoicism. When he sees that you have a life outside of him, it piques his interest and makes him value your presence even more. Uncertainty also works beautifully when paired with genuine surprises. Think about the last time someone surprised you with a kind gesture, a heartfelt compliment, or an unexpected gift. It left an impression, didn't it? In the same way, surprise him in small but meaningful ways. Maybe you send him a playlist of songs that remind you of your time together. Maybe you leave a note in his jacket pocket, knowing he'll find it later, and smile. These moments of unpredictability create emotional highs that deepen his connection to you. But here's the caveat. Uncertainty only works when it's rooted in authenticity. If you're being elusive just for the sake of creating mystery, he'll see through it, and it will feel disingenuous. Instead, let your unpredictability stem from your self-sufficiency. When you're genuinely busy living a rich, fulfilling life, your natural rhythm will create just enough uncertainty to keep him intrigued. Now, let me ask you this. Are you willing to embrace a little unpredictability in your interactions? Are you ready to let go of the need to control every aspect of the relationship and instead trust the process? This isn't about manipulation. It's about being so grounded in your own confidence that you don't feel the need to overcompensate. And trust me, that kind of energy is magnetic. So what's one way you can introduce a little mystery into your relationship today? Maybe it's not responding to his text the second you see it. Maybe it's pursuing a new hobby that takes up some of your time. Or maybe it's simply letting him wonder what you're up to, instead of always keeping him in the loop. Before we move on to the next transformative principle, I want to hear from you. Are you loving these insights so far? If this idea of using uncertainty to spark attraction resonates with you, like this video and comment number 1 below. Let me know you're ready to level up your relationship game. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for even more powerful tips and strategies. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. In the next section, we're diving into the push-pull dynamic, a game-changing strategy that creates emotional tension and keeps him hooked for the long haul. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned. 3. The push-pull dynamic, mastering emotional tension. There's a rhythm to attraction, a subtle dance that weaves together curiosity, desire, and emotional engagement. At the heart of this dance lies the push-pull dynamic, a principle so powerful that it can transform the way a man sees and feels about you. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about understanding the natural flow of human connection and leveraging it to create a bond that keeps him coming back for more. So, what exactly is the push-pull dynamic, and how does it work? Let's start with the basics. The push is when you engage him, flirting, giving him your attention, and making him feel special. It's the warmth of your smile, the sparkle in your eyes, and the way you genuinely listen to his stories. The pull, on the other hand, is when you create space, giving him time to process his feelings, miss your presence, and wonder about you. It's the gentle distance that stirs curiosity and reneats his interest. This dynamic is rooted in a powerful psychological principle. Humans are most drawn to what they can't completely have. If you're always pushing, always available, always initiating, you eliminate the sense of challenge and unpredictability that fuels attraction. Conversely, if you're always pulling, distant, unresponsive, or cold, you risk pushing him too far away. The magic lies in finding the perfect balance where he feels both the comfort of your attention and the thrill of earning it. Let's paint a picture. Imagine you've been texting a man regularly and the conversation is flowing effortlessly. It's clear that he's interested, and you're enjoying the connection. But instead of texting him back immediately every time or always being the one to initiate, you decide to pause. Maybe you don't respond to his message right away because you're busy living your life at the gym, meeting friends, or indulging in some much-needed self-care. When you finally do reply, your message is warm and engaging, but it doesn't reveal everything. It leaves just enough unsaid to make him curious about your world. This small act of pulling back creates a shift in his mind. Suddenly, he's thinking about you more. He's wondering what you're up to, why you didn't reply sooner, and whether you're as invested in him as he is in you. This curiosity doesn't make him insecure, it makes him engaged. It taps into the emotional tension that keeps relationships exciting, especially in the early stages. The push-pull dynamic also works wonders in long-term relationships. Many couples fall into predictable patterns over time, where both partners know exactly what to expect. While stability is essential for building trust, too much predictability can lead to complacency. By continuing to apply the push-pull dynamic, you can keep the spark alive, even after months or years together. For example, let's say you and your partner always spend Friday nights together. While this routine might feel comforting, it can also become monotonous if it never changes. One week, instead of sticking to your usual plans, you decide to switch things up. Maybe you suggest a spontaneous road trip, or maybe you plan an evening out with your own friends, leaving him to miss you for a change. This subtle pull creates a ripple effect. It breaks the routine, sparks intrigue, and reminds him of the independent, vibrant woman he fell for in the first place. The push-pull dynamic also taps into the concept of emotional tension, which is crucial for keeping relationships alive. Think about the most compelling movies or TV shows you've ever watched. What keeps you glued to the screen? It's not the predictable scenes where everything goes as planned. It's the moments of conflict, suspense, and resolution. Similarly, relationships thrive on a balance of highs and lows, moments of connection and separation, and the emotional roller coaster that comes with navigating two individual lives. But let's address the elephant in the room. How do you apply the push-pull dynamic without overthinking or coming across as calculated? The answer lies in authenticity. This dynamic isn't about pretending to be someone you're not or deliberately withholding affection. It's about recognizing the natural ebb and flow of relationships and leaning into it with confidence. For instance, if you're genuinely busy with work or pursuing a new hobby, that's a natural pull. If you're excited to share something with him or plan a thoughtful date, that's a natural push. The key is to let these moments arise organically, rather than forcing them. When you approach the push-pull dynamic from a place of authenticity, it feels effortless and genuine, and that's what makes it so effective. There's also a deeper layer to this dynamic, one that ties into dark Stoic psychology. By embracing the principles of Stoicism, you learn to detach from the need for constant reassurance or control in a relationship. You focus instead on your own growth, your own happiness, and your own inner peace. This emotional self-sufficiency creates a powerful energy, one that draws him toward you without any effort on your part. So, how can you start mastering the push-pull dynamic in your own life? Begin by observing your current patterns. Are you always the one reaching out, planning dates, or making an effort to keep the connection alive? If so, take a step back and let him take the lead. Conversely, if you've been distant or guarded, try leaning in a little more, showing him your warmth, your affection, and your genuine interest. Remember, the push-pull dynamic is about balance. It's not about playing hard to get or creating artificial drama. It's about understanding that attraction thrives on tension, and tension requires both closeness and distance. When you master this balance, you create a connection that feels exciting, dynamic, and deeply fulfilling. And here's the best part. The push-pull dynamic doesn't just benefit your relationship, it also benefits you. It reminds you to prioritize your own life, your own passions, and your own well-being, rather than losing yourself in the relationship. It teaches you to trust the natural flow of connection rather than forcing things to happen. And ultimately, it empowers you to be the kind of woman who is irresistible, not because she's perfect, but because she's real. In the next section, we'll explore the power of absence and why distance can create desire like nothing else. Stay tuned, because this is where things get even more interesting. 4. The power of absence, why distance creates desire. Let's start with a bold truth. Absence is not the enemy of love, it's the fuel for it. Have you ever noticed how much you crave something when it's just out of reach? How the anticipation of seeing someone makes the moment all the more special? That's the power of absence. And when it comes to relationships, it's a psychological game changer. Many women fall into the trap of thinking that constant presence equals deeper connection. You might believe that by being there for him all the time, texting back instantly, agreeing to every plan, or always being available, you're showing him how much you care. But what if I told you that this strategy might be the very thing dulling his feelings? Here's why. When something is always accessible, it loses its value. Think about the things you cherish the most. Maybe it's a luxury item, a favorite dessert, or even a vacation destination. Part of what makes these things special is their rarity. If you had them every single day, their magic would fade. Relationships work the same way. The human brain is wired to crave what it can't have all the time. That's why absence is such a powerful tool. It creates space for desire to grow. Now, let's explore how you can use the power of absence to create longing in his heart without ever coming across as cold or distant. The key here is to master intentional absence. This isn't about ignoring him or pulling away to manipulate his emotions. It's about giving him the gift of missing you. Imagine this. You've spent a beautiful weekend together. The chemistry was electric, the conversations deep, and the connection undeniable. Instead of continuing that momentum by flooding his phone with messages the next day, you take a step back. You let him process the moments you shared. You allow him to reflect on the way you made him feel. And most importantly, you create space for him to want more. This space does something incredible. It gives him time to romanticize your time together. He starts replaying the sound of your laughter, the way your eyes lit up when you told a story, or the gentle touch of your hand on his arm. Without you there to fill the silence, his mind fills it with thoughts of you. That's the beauty of absence. It amplifies the best parts of your connection. But let's take it a step further. Absence isn't just about physical distance, it's about emotional independence. When you're emotionally independent, when you're busy pursuing your passions, nurturing your friendships, and living a full life, your absence speaks volumes. It tells him, I'm a woman with a life so rich and fulfilling that you'll never get bored in my presence. But I'm also not afraid to give you space. This ties directly into the principles of Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us to let go of what we can't control and focus on what we can, our own actions, growth, and mindset. By embodying this philosophy, you naturally create an energy of self-sufficiency that makes your presence more valuable. You're not chasing him for validation or filling his inbox with messages to prove your worth. You're living your life, and that makes him miss you all the more. Now, let's get practical. How can you apply the power of absence in your relationship today? Start by observing where you're overgiving. Are you always the one initiating conversations? Do you cancel plans with friends just to be with him? If so, it's time to pull back, not to punish him, but to prioritize yourself. When you focus on your own life, your absence becomes a natural byproduct, and he'll start to crave your presence without you lifting a finger. Here's another way to create intentional absence. Be unpredictable. If he's used to hearing from you every evening, switch things up. Maybe one night you're out at a painting class or a networking event. When he asks what you're up to, let your response be intriguing but concise. Just got home from an incredible class. Can't wait to tell you about it later. That's it. No over-explaining, no unnecessary details. This creates curiosity and keeps him thinking about you. Absence also works wonders in long-term relationships. Even if you've been together for years, creating space can reignite the spark. Plan a solo weekend getaway or dedicate an evening to a hobby you've been neglecting. When you return, you'll find that he's missed you in ways he didn't even realize. But let's be clear. Absence only works when paired with warmth. When you are together, make your presence unforgettable. Be fully engaged, listen to him, laugh with him, and let him feel the depth of your connection. This contrast between your vibrant presence and your occasional absence creates a powerful emotional rhythm. He'll find himself craving the moments when you're around precisely because he knows you won't always be there. Now, here's a question for you. When was the last time you gave him the gift of missing you? If you're always available, always reaching out, and always saying yes, it might be time to change the dynamic. Step back. Create space. Let him feel the void of your absence so he can fully appreciate the joy of your presence. And if you're loving these insights and can't wait to implement them, like this video and comment number 1 below. I'd love to hear how you plan to use the power of absence to create deeper desire in your relationship. Don't forget to subscribe for more transformative strategies that will empower you to become the best version of yourself. The next tip is just as powerful. You won't want to miss it. 5. Why 95% of high-value women overlook this principle? Let's address a hard truth. Even the most accomplished, intelligent, and high-value women can unintentionally sabotage their relationships by misunderstanding what men truly need to miss them. It's not because they lack value or substance, it's because they often overlook one crucial principle. Men don't fall in love with what's always in front of them. They fall in love with what they have the space to desire. Think about this for a moment. You might have built an incredible life for yourself. You're successful, kind, compassionate, and generous. You've achieved things that many women admire, and you know how to show your care and affection. But here's the catch. High-value women often assume that being available, accommodating, and consistently present is the key to keeping a man's interest. After all, doesn't showing up for someone demonstrate your love and commitment? Unfortunately, this well-meaning behavior can backfire. Why? Because constant availability leads to predictability, and predictability dulls desire. It's not your value that's in question. It's the way you're showcasing it. When you're always there, always saying yes, and always making yourself accessible, you unintentionally remove the tension and mystery that keep relationships alive. Let's break this down further. Many high-value women believe that their accomplishments, emotional generosity, or loyalty will be enough to make a man crave their presence. And to an extent, these traits are undeniably attractive. But what often gets overlooked is the power of absence, balance, and emotional independence. Without these elements, even the most impressive qualities can begin to feel ordinary to a man. Here's an analogy. Imagine your favorite dessert, something you absolutely love. Maybe it's a rich chocolate cake or a decadent tiramisu. Now, imagine eating that dessert every single day. At first, it's thrilling. But over time, the excitement fades, not because the dessert has lost its quality, but because it's always available. There's no anticipation, no longing, and no novelty left. The same concept applies to relationships. Even high-value traits lose their sparkle when they're constantly on display. So why do 95% of high-value women fall into this trap? It's simple. They confuse love with constant effort. Society often teaches women that they must do more to keep a man interested, more affection, more availability, more accommodation. But the truth is, love doesn't flourish under constant effort. It thrives in the balance between giving and withholding, closeness and distance, certainty and intrigue. The problem isn't that you're giving too much, it's that you're not creating enough space for him to value what you're offering. Men need room to miss you, to reflect on what makes you special, and to feel the absence of your presence. Without that space, they begin to take you for granted, not because they don't care, but because human nature craves contrast. Now, let's talk about how you can step out of this trap and into a dynamic where your high value is truly appreciated. The first step is understanding the power of boundaries. High-value women often hesitate to set boundaries because they fear it will make them seem unavailable or unloving. But in reality, boundaries are what create respect and admiration. When you're clear about your priorities, your time, and your emotional needs, you send a powerful message. I value myself, and I expect you to value me too. This doesn't push a man away, it draws him closer, because he sees that your love comes from a place of strength, not neediness. For example, let's say you've been texting him daily, always initiating conversations and checking in on how he's doing. While this might feel like you're being attentive, it can create a dynamic where he doesn't have the chance to initiate or pursue you. Instead, take a step back. Let him be the one to reach out. When he does, respond warmly, but don't immediately drop everything to reply. Show him that your time is precious, and that while you care deeply, you also have a life full of meaning outside of the relationship. Another common mistake high-value women make is prioritizing his needs over their own. You might cancel plans, rearrange your schedule, or neglect your own goals to accommodate his. While this can be a kind gesture, over time it sends the message that his time and priorities are more important than yours. This creates an imbalance that diminishes the excitement and respect in the relationship. Instead, focus on maintaining your own passions, goals, and friendships. When you're fully immersed in your own life, whether it's advancing your career, practicing stoicism to cultivate emotional independence, or exploring a new hobby, you naturally create an energy that draws him in. He starts to see you not just as a partner, but as a vibrant, dynamic individual whose world he wants to be part of. One of the most overlooked aspects of this principle is the importance of emotional independence. Many women think that being emotionally available 24/7 is the key to connection. But in reality, emotional independence is far more attractive. When you're confident in your own feelings and don't rely on him for constant validation, he feels safe, intrigued, and inspired by your self-sufficiency. Here's the bottom line. High-value women don't need to do more to make a man miss them. They need to be more centered, more intentional, more grounded in their own worth. When you embody this energy, you stop chasing love and start attracting it effortlessly. Now, take a moment to reflect. Are you overextending yourself in your relationship? Are you always the one giving, initiating, or accommodating? If so, it might be time to step back and let him meet you halfway. Trust that your value doesn't come from constant effort, it comes from who you are. And when you give him the space to truly see and appreciate that, everything changes. When you apply this principle, you'll notice a shift. He'll start to text first. He'll plan the next date. He'll look at you with a renewed sense of admiration. Why? Because you've given him the gift of longing, the opportunity to reflect on what makes you special. And that's a gift no high-value woman should overlook. We've journeyed through some of the most transformative principles of attraction: self-sufficiency, the power of absence, the push-pull dynamic, and the psychological trigger of uncertainty. Together, these tools don't just make him miss you, they create a connection that is magnetic, lasting, and deeply fulfilling. But here's the beauty of everything we've discussed. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing hard to get or keeping him guessing for the sake of control. It's about stepping into your own power, embracing your independence, focusing on your passions, and letting your energy speak for itself. when you prioritize your growth, when you leave just enough space for him to reflect, and when you balance closeness with a touch of unpredictability, something magical happens. He starts to see you as a rare gem, someone he can't replace, someone whose presence lights up his world. And isn't that what we all want? To be loved not because we're always there, but because we're truly unforgettable. So, let's wrap this up with some reflection. Are you ready to shift the dynamic in your relationships? Are you willing to embrace these principles and become the kind of woman who inspires deep longing and admiration? The steps are simple, but their impact is profound. Start by carving out space for yourself, creating a life so vibrant and fulfilling that it naturally pulls others in. Add a touch of unpredictability, a sprinkle of mystery, and let your presence shine when you're with him. As you embark on this journey, remember that these principles don't just benefit your relationship, they benefit you. They remind you of your worth, your power, and your ability to create meaningful connections without sacrificing your independence. By embracing the balance between presence and absence, you step into a version of yourself that is confident, captivating, and magnetic. Now it's your turn. Take these insights and weave them into your life. Notice the subtle shifts in how he interacts with you, the way his eyes light up when he sees you, and the longing in his voice when you're apart. And know that this transformation isn't about changing who you are. It's about becoming the most authentic, powerful version of yourself. Thank you for taking the time to explore these ideas with me. If this resonated with you, I encourage you to apply these principles and see how they elevate your relationships. Remember, you are the prize, and when you step into that truth, everything changes. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of this resonated with you the most? What's one step you'll take today to create space for him to miss you? Share your insights in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more transformative tips and strategies. Here's to you becoming the irresistible, unforgettable woman you were always meant to be. Wishing you love, confidence, and the connection you deserve. See you next time.